Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, what the world is listening to.
What's up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, The Hot Commodity, joined by my friend and longtime co-host. He's back joining us. Introduce yourself, sir.
I'm here. I'm Chris Russell. What's up? Listen, my camera's a little fucked up. Sorry if I look dark. But Raw, the end saved it. It was okay. It wasn't too much. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, man. Good episode of Raw. We're covering, like Christian said, Monday Night Raw from July 8th, 2024, live in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And this is the aftermath of Money in the Bank. If you missed it, check out our recap of Money in the Bank. Decent episode. Decent pay-per-view. Nothing huge, but, they say, WWE is going to be changed forever. I really don't think so. I don't think anything really, happened to change it. But so CM Punk comes out to start the show, and as we know, he screwed over Drew McIntyre during Drew McIntyre's title match, which also screwed over Seth Rollins in the whole setup because since Damian Priest won, Seth Rollins can't challenge for the title. So CM Punk says, I want to recognize someone who's going to be a Hall of Famer. Congratulations and thank you to John Cena on your retirement. I love to lace up my boots one more time and fight with you down the road if that were to happen. He then says, Drew McIntyre is not here tonight. He went and got himself suspended. There are consequences to your actions and the consequences to all of your stupid actions, Drew. You made a big promise to walk out as champion. The consequences promised you wouldn't be as champion as long as there's breath in my lungs, and I made sure that happened. Drew McIntyre got fined and suspended. Adam Pearce, can we please lift Drew's suspension so I could get my hands on him? Seth Rollins comes out, and CM Punk says, and pretty much Seth Rollins pretty much mocks CM Punk and says that he's whining, and Seth says, CM Punk says, Seth, watch what you say. Seth says, I wouldn't dare. I think you can help me understand why consequences apply to everyone but you. Why did you stick your nose in my business last night? Or I'm sorry, on Money in the Bank. CM Punk says, I was handling my own business. He's like, being a daddy to Rue is important to you. A man is wearing a bracelet that has my wife's and dog's name on it. If I screw things up for you, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, but I have a singular focus. But because it's you, I can't be that sorry. And Seth says, you gaslight everybody. You never apologize for anything because nothing's your fault. You're the dumbest smart dude I ever met. The world does not revolve around CM Punk. You can burn bridges anywhere else, and I ain't talking about the show Heels. That was, ooh. If it wasn't for you, I would be champion. Being champion is the most important thing. I could take a cheap shot, but I know your fragile body isn't 100%. But when you're cleared, I'll snap your arm before you can think about Drew McIntyre. Actions have consequences. And that was a nice little bow that he put on at the end to sort of mock CM Punk for his own words. So what do you think here? Do you think CM Punk is right in all of this? Like, I had a singular focus. I didn't mean to screw you over, but it is what it is. Or do you think Seth has a right to kind of be upset? Granted that he lost an opportunity for the title down the line.
Oh, I couldn't see for a second.
No.
So this is probably my favorite thing of the night, to be honest, because ever since the first time we saw these guys, kind of get into the ring together to have a face-to-face, I've wanted to see more of it. Because Punk, Drew, Seth now in the mix, it is really the hottest storyline going on in all of wrestling, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But this was great. We need more of this, especially to, when we finally see all three of these guys, compete. I think it was great to see Punk go out there and start the show. We haven't seen him on Raw in a long time. He did make it clear saying he won't be there next week. So curious to see what Drew has to say. But this is really good. At this point, they don't need the world title. But I think at some point down the line, one of these men will have the world title and it eventually will become for the world title. I don't think it needs it, but I think we will get it like that. But it should be good. Should be good.
I have a question for you that I didn't ask. I had a strong reaction to the Money in the Bank show. Drew McIntyre wins the briefcase. I personally thought it would have made more sense to have CM Punk interfere in that match.
Yes, I said the same thing.
Then Drew, that Money in the Bank briefcase isn't a waste, because now they're not only to see. I see two sides of it, right? I like that there's another storyline for CM Punk aside from Drew McIntyre, right? But the problem is, like, it didn't need to happen. You could have done, maybe this is their whole thing. They didn't want, because I thought that Seth was going to win, but I thought he was going to win by like disqualification or some sort of like where it wasn't clear if he could compete or not for the title again.
Oh, okay.
That would have been a bit better. But it's like they did the same thing, but they made Drew, and it's just like, how many times are you going to bury Drew? It's like, I get it. Like, you want him to be this crybaby heel, but what he's bitching about are things that are actual things that have happened to him. You even go back as far as the WrestleMania where there was COVID. He talks about it on the documentary. It's my turn for WrestleMania, and then of course we got to have it. And so what he is whining and he is complaining, but he has been screwed over constantly. And I feel like me, the fan that I am, I'm looking at it like, I'm not booing Drew because he's been fucked over all of these times. I think that if you gave the briefcase to somebody else, you have Drew reach for it, have CM Punk screw Drew, then it would make more sense. And we'll get to this when we talk about Damian Priest's conversation with Seth Rollins backstage. But I really feel like they did a disservice to both of them, because now Seth is screwed, and now Drew that Money in the Bank is gone. That thrill of wondering when they're going to cash in is done, because
it was bull. That's the main part, in my opinion, that kind of sucks. That's kind of the main part, in my opinion, that kind of sucks. It's like we don't really have anything to look forward to. And I'm a big Priest guy, but I'm not being biased. Like, it kind of sucks. Like, we don't have that to look forward to. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a waste.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. I feel like it would have made justice. I would have liked it better if Seth won by disqualification or count out, and then have Damian Priest be like, okay, listen, we're going to throw that out the window because you didn't really lose. But we'll cover that. So I'm glad I got your opinion on that. Next up, Dominik Mysterio is pissed because he's teaming up with Liv Morgan tonight to take on Zelina Vega and Rey Mysterio. Dominik's telling Adam Pearce he doesn't want to tag with Liv, and he's not happy about it. Liv Morgan shows up, and Dominik is asking her, why are you doing all of this? And Liv says she wants to show the world who the real daddy is in the Mysterio family. And I mean, in her eyes, it's Dominik. In my eyes, it's Dominik. I think Dominik is I'm really into Dominik in some weird way. I don't know why. It's not the mustache, but I can see why she's flirting with Dominik here. Do you think it makes sense that Dominik is playing coy? Because it's like, in real life, if you do like two people, you have the person that you've known that you're keeping around, and then there's the other person that's kind of, and you're not trying to give that person attention, but you do like it, like he's getting, he is daddy in Liv's eyes. Mommy is mommy. Like, Rhea Ripley is the top. He's now being looked at as like, I'm on top, bitch. Like, we're doing it my way type deal. So I can understand. I like the little notes of him smiling, or him like, because in all actuality, he's feeling Liv Morgan, and we could all see that. So what do you think? Do you think he should just be like, Liv, I like you? Or do you think it's smart that he's still playing, I don't like her, Rhea, I'm still into you type deal?
I mean, it's kind of hard to ask that now because we know what happened at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, he kind of was falling in for it. I wonder what happens if, and I know I'm kind of going a little early, but what happens if Rhea doesn't, like, Rhea, now we know Rhea is back. What if happens if she didn't come back tonight and they actually would have hugged it out and kissed after that match? Like, and I'll talk more about that at the end, but like,
Do you think
I
they
don't
should have
know.
done that?
I think they would have played it. I think they should have done that. They should have
I
played out
agree.
more and had more more thing. I just think in this situation, and I don't want to get too ahead. This last thing I'll say, and I'll talk more about it later, because what I'm really have to say goes involved with Rhea coming back. I think, first of all, if you watched Monday Night Raw, they both knew they were. Liv Morgan said to Dominik, when she comes out, should I run? And then Dominik was like, yeah. So like that kind of blew it up for me, but I don't know if anyone else took notice of that, but I took note. That's how I knew Rhea was coming back.
I knew
And
she was coming when Damian was like, "Yo, where are you at?" And I was
that
like,
too.
"She's coming.
That
She's
too.
coming, man." Do
But
you
the
think?
camp
Go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, my question for you is this. I know we're getting ahead, and we'll talk about this later. I like it kind of because it's a battle of control over Dominik now, right? Because Dominik is like a little puppy. You know, he's got mommy Rhea, who he loves mommy, but then he's got Liv, who's like, "You're my daddy. You need to be treated better. I got you." And
Right.
also, what I'm wondering is this Damian's Priest work? Did Damian Priest call Rhea and say,
I
"Hey,
think
girl"?
I think Finn's a big part of this. I think she used Finn to get with, and I think Finn plays a part. I think they're all going to turn on Rhea, and I think Rhea,
No.
Dom, I think Rhea, Dom, and Priest will be the baby faces, and JD, Finn, and Liv will be the heels. And
Okay.
They're
See,
going to form their own Judgment Day
I can
type
see
of thing.
that happening. I could see Finn, but I think it would be smart if it was Damian because Damian's in charge. You know, he's calling shots. He's the world champion.
Wait. You said it'd be smart if Damian what?
If Damian was the one to say, "Hey, Rhea, come to Raw and mess shit up," because right now we're thinking like, okay, Rhea's mad because this
Well, yes, because Damian has given Dominik. He's literally said this every week. You know, you got make it right or something like Damian's literally warned Dom like 4 different times. Like Damian did what he had to do.
Yeah, yo,
In that sense.
he's ratting on his friend, man. But it's okay because Rhea was gonna find out. I mean, she's on social media, she sees everything. Let's
So
move
you
on
want to know
to other.
something real quick?
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Before I hate to be that guy, guys, and I'm gonna clip this and post this on Twitter because I'm kind of curious. I'm known for kind of posting L takes. Again, sorry for my camera being all fucked up. I gotta fix it. Now, as much as I love this story, and as much as I have grown into it a lot more, because it's a little romance, you know, freaky type of thing, and we haven't seen this in a while. It's really hard to believe this sometimes. It's really hard for me to believe any romantic interaction with these people, and I'll tell you why. Shout out Bully Ray because he said this on Bustin' Open, and I completely agree. When you're Rhea Ripley, Dominik Mysterio's real life spouse, Buddy Murphy, who is an AEW wrestler, who is now the spouse of Rhea Ripley, when they're out posting, you know, their real life, I get it. These guys play characters. These guys are more obviously they're human beings outside of Rhea Ripley, Dominik Mysterio. I get it. But when you're in a hot storyline that's on national TV, millions of people watch, and there's been a reputation of kayfabe has been dying. For me, they should have put Rhea and Buddy should have not been public until after this whole thing was done. Dominik should have not posted wedding pictures or his real life spouse until this whole thing was done. Now, Liv Morgan's really single in real life, and she has said that. So that's all I wanted to say. Is this does not that's the only thing about this. It's starting to lose me a little bit because we know the fucking truth. We know that it's just I wish they did a little better job of that. Again, probably an L take by me, but that's just how I feel.
No, I agree with you. It's hard to believe in a story when you know it's not true. I do think that social media does positively and negatively affect the product because positively you see stuff that they cut off on TV. Negatively,
Positive for guys like us. It gives guys like us to be able to go out here, post what we want to talk about.
Mhm.
You know, but like it also like I hate I hate reporters. I hate spoilers. I have them all blocked. They all block me. I'm not one of those people that.
Yeah.
Well, breaking news. This is like, no, like I talk about what I see on TV. That's it.
Yeah, I don't like the,
I don't feed into the backstage bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather just see it once it happens so I could really be invested in it. Like
the people that do ruin this. Because they're the ones going out there but I don't even think Rhea and Buddy posted any fucking picture. The fans went out and did that. Like the reporters went out and did that. Like you guys essentially ruined the story. Like I get it. Like it's not completely their fault, but like you guys, like these reporters aren't really reporters. Like they're just fucking WWE marks sitting here and doing the same thing we're doing, talking about it. Like as fans. Like, all right, I'm done talking about that. Sorry, go ahead.
Dude, no, you're right. And a lot of it is clickbait. A lot of it is just ways to get people to check out their stuff. And some of it's true, some of it's not. But I'd rather like we do, talk about it, discuss it, have an opinion, and then move on. These people don't know I exist. Becky Lynch does, but other than that, like it's like we do it for fun, and it's like we don't want to spoil anything. We don't want to. We all want to enjoy it collectively. So, no spoilers. Come on. Save it for the show. Well, we're covering our first match, Chad Gable versus Jey Uso. They've been going back and forth at it. Jey Uso pretty much was the one to spear Chad Gable on Money in the Bank and knock him out of the match. During the match, Chad Gable applies an ankle lock. The lights start to go off one by one, and then Jey Uso lands a spear and gets the win. Jey Uso hightails it out of there. He runs off. Lights go off. The smoke fills up the ring. Nikki Cross pops up from under the apron, which is a really cool, looking moment. Chad Gable runs away, and then Nikki Cross hands a box in front of Pat McAfee. And again, this is another WYATTSICK6 vignette that we'll see later on. How are you liking this presentation of Nikki Cross? And it looks as if Chad Gable is their enemy. I thought it was going to be Solo, but what do you think?
So, when these WYATTSICK6 guys go out the next day after their big reveal and go take fans pictures at Whataburger or whatever the fuck it was, that's what lost me. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I like the whole Bo Dallas thing. It feels more real. It feels more like it's like his real name, Taylor. Mm-hmm. Like it feels more like it's like him than Bo Dallas. This beats anything Bo Dallas has done anything in his fucking career. But it's a little unrealistic when you have killed or have Chad Gable look like there and he's already medically cleared to compete a week later. I love the concept of tribute because I myself thought I was a fan of Bray. I thought the Fiend was one of the most scariest, spooky things. But we saw the Fiend go into the ring. When are we going to see Uncle Howdy go into the ring? Ooh, I didn't like the whole Funhouse friendly shit. I don't like this whole backstage vignette shit. I'm not going to lie, the first one really creeped me out. I was watching in the dark. It was kind of scary. They did a good job at that. But, when is Bo going to go into the ring and say this in front of the crowd? Why isn't he talking? That promo we talked about his brother should have been in front of the audience instead of doing this backstage vignette stuff. I don't think we're gonna get these seem like characters right now that aren't meant to wrestle, which, with all due respect, I'm not gonna fucking put them in a wrestling ring. Do me a favor, go to WWE Studios and have all of them film a movie because I'm tired of seeing this shit on the wrestling show.
Well, hopefully we'll talk about this when we get there to talk about, not seeing them in the ring. We did see Bo Dallas backstage with Adam Pearce, and that's the first time you really have seen him aside from the Uncle Howdy thing. So maybe, we got SummerSlam coming up. Maybe they're starting. Maybe he'll show up. I do agree with you. I like the vignettes because it's cool to learn about them and stuff, but they need to do something now. They need to.
Jimmy Cordeas, because me and him were just going at it the other fucking day on Twitter about this. This referee, Jimmy Cordeas.
I love him. I agree. That's our friend I met. You fighting with Jimmy Cordeas, Christian.
So this motherfucker, something
He
on
doesn't.
Twitter.
He's not a referee anymore, right?
No, he's been retired. He was just on
Okay, so
Busted
that
Open
is
radio. I'm listening to Busted Open, and here comes Dave LaGreca. And here's an interview with Jimmy. I turned that shit off. I'm
I
not listening to
love
that.
Jimmy Cross. That dude.
So
That's
this
my
guy,
man.
no, because this old guy doesn't know how to read. I completely agreed with everything this guy said about the WYATTSICK. I said people were coming at me for saying what you said, sir. Thank you. Like, I agree with your take. This guy goes, I don't remember me coming at you, bro. I said, hold up, you old fuck. Like, read your shit again. Like, with all I said with all due respect, like 2 times, and he just kept reposting and quoting it. So I finally said, listen, you old fucker, read my shit instead of like, go fuck yourself, Jimmy Cordes. Fuck you. Like, yeah. Speaking of the WYATTSICK, bro, like I try to agree. Everything I said, you said, and you wanted to. No, fuck you, dude. All right. Anyway.
Little 8-year-old Anthony here is crying some. Oh no, I wasn't 8. This is 2002 when I met him, so I was like, what?
I know. Oh, you met him before?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. When I went, they had the last show. There used to be a Coliseum in New Haven, and they destroyed it. But the last show was like a SmackDown house show. And before, like, we took pictures of them driving in, and Jimmy Corderas was outside. I shook his hand. And Rico, the wrestler Rico, was there, and I shook his hand.
I like Jimmy Corderas. Like, it's just like,
did not read
motherfucker needs.
Right.
He just didn't read my tweet right. Like, I have it. Like, I deleted it because like he reposted, and a lot of people were like, but like, because I literally said like, with all it was a misunderstanding. Like, please read my shit again. And he kept saying like, oh, I was like, all right, dude, this is
dumb.
He's
a dinosaur. He's cool.
Yeah.
So next up, we have Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne. Bronson tells Sheamus that he's stuck in the past. Sheamus challenges him to a match. He's like, I'm fighting your friend tonight. I'll fight you next week. Bronson gets the win after landing a tsunami. After Bronson goes to land a second tsunami on Pete Dunne, but Sheamus runs out and takes out Bronson Reed. He goes to almost hug Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne's like, nah, dude, like, we're not cool. You left us, and just because you helped me doesn't mean that I'm your friend. Anything you want to say to that?
Piss break.
Yeah, it was.
Actually, you do know what I want to say to that. If you had this as a child, you are a legend because I still have mine downstairs.
I just shared that on Facebook. Did you see that? I did. It was like, if you know what, if you don't,
okay, I see it. Funny enough, I see it twice. Then
is that cool? Yeah.
Dude, yes, I saw. That's what I got to say about Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne. If you still have your John Cena CD, you're a legend.
Listen, I was
shout out to the GOAT. I love you.
I was taking a shower listening to the song Right Now by John.
Dude, that is the best. That is the best song on the album.
Mm-hmm. Dude, 100%.
I listened to that when I smoked a joint the other day.
Oh, dude.
Because Money in the Bank, me and my girl. This is the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Christian. But no, me and my girl, she came and we smoked I smoked a joint outside in the garage, and I was listening to that. It was because he just announced this is after, mind you, this is after he just announced he's retiring.
To my girl, let's get it on like a slow jam. I love
that. Was a little tribute to John Cena.
A little Anthony used to listen to that song and be like, I love it. And now I'm grown up Anthony being like, I love it. I don't care. It's like the memes of Adam Sandler with all the kids, and it's like they're going to see
I love dude.
John Cena. I'm gonna cry when he leaves. I don't care. I'm gonna cry.
I hope, bro. He came to Hershey in 2022, and I didn't get to see him because I had something going on. I hope he gets. I hope Raw comes.
You've seen him before, right?
I've seen him when I was like 9 years old.
Oh, so you haven't seen him in a while? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you see him, man. He's gonna be on if he comes until December.
Tickets are gonna go through the roof. I don't care. I'm there because I just went to Raw like last month, June 3rd. So.
Well, I hope we get to see John. I hope I get to see John Cena again. I hope you get to see him again. But I hope he's out for a while. I hope he doesn't just pop up at the pay-per-views, you know.
January.
Yep, he's gonna start then at the Royal Rumble.
He'll be on Raw with Raw going to Netflix and.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that too. So speaking of just titles and all that, Seth Rollins confronts World Champion Damian Priest backstage. Seth says, Saturday, you were lucky and very good. You kept your word, and I'll keep mine. If you want to keep that thing, you got to be better than Gunther at SummerSlam. Priest then says, throw out that gentleman's agreement we've made. After Gunther, I'll fight you anytime, anywhere. Seth leaves, and then Dame. All rise, respect. I didn't even see it. All rise.
Anytime you talk about Damian Priest, this is gonna be
all right. All rise for Damian Priest. Seth leaves, and Damian Priest picks up the phone. He says, "Yo, where you at?" And all rise. Oh yeah, that was this year, right?
Yeah, I got this at the show. I wish the Puerto Rican flag was bigger. Fuck.
I know. I like the purple on it though. So what do you think about this? Are you happy that they threw away that agreement, or do you think
Rollins shouldn't? This is hard. I was watching this match like, damn, like I'm big. Like these are my top two favorite wrestlers right now. Like these two Punk are probably like my top wrestlers right now. I want to see these guys have a better match. I didn't think their match was great at Money in the Bank. A lot of botches. With Money in the Bank, all that interference. This proves that Priest kind of gets me interested because myself included think Gunther's just going to take the title away from him. But with Damian Priest singing out there, I'd be Gunther. Like now, it's giving me a little more interest in more of the Damian and Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
But this is good. I like Seth. I love Seth. I didn't think he should have won it right away because he's been going for 2 months. Have him come back, build up a little bit after SummerSlam. We'll see it again. Probably at hopefully Bad Blood. So
possibly. I would like to see Seth and Drew and
Damian and Priest versus at Bad Blood. Yeah, that'd be really good.
Hell in a Cell. Well, next up, Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn comes out. Sami says, Braun brought everything. He made a mistake, though, by thinking I was an underdog. I am a champion. I have earned a certain amount of respect, and that is why you can't keep me down. Bron Breakker then comes out. Sami says, what are you here for? You want a rematch? Braun says, I came out here to look you in the eye, the only man who has beaten me. I'm a smart guy. There's no reason for a rematch. So I've been thinking. And then Bron Breakker spears the shit out of Sami Zayn. He attacks Sami, and then Braun spears Sami on the floor, but Ilya Dragunov comes out and checks on Sami Zayn. Do you think Bron Breakker deserves another rematch after he lost?
Yeah. I mean, who else is there? Sami Zayn is overrated. I like his matches, but he's overrated. Personally, I'm taking the fight. I'm having him. I would have the next person that fights Sami take it off. That's just my booking. But you guys wouldn't like my booking. If I was booking the show, I'd have fucking Priest break Roman Reigns' record. So, like, let's be happy I'm not fucking booking the show, all right?
I do think I'm mad at – I wish that Braun, another, like, thing that I didn't like about Money in the Bank, he was built up to destroy everybody, and then he loses clean to Sami Zayn. And I didn't like that. I felt like they should have maybe, again, done a screw job because Bron Breakker has been on a massive tear, and now you're going to be able to say, well, Sami Zayn beat you. You know, like, I don't want him to have that reputation. I want him to be unstoppable, kind of like he's not going to be a Brock Lesnar, but kind of have that sort of like, Braun's coming, he's about to tear shit up. Well, how are you going to still have him have that reputation if he loses fair to Sami Zayn, you know?
Right.
And their first match. If it was like the second match, okay. But like for their first match, have it be like, okay, they had to stop the match because of something or have something happen, you know? It's just weird how he destroyed Ludwig, Ricochet, Ilya, and it's like he gets pinned by Sami like it was nothing. But they're going to fight again, so that's probably why. I don't know. Moving on quick, before we take our first break, we have another match. The Judgment Day defeat the team of Awesome Truth and Braun Strowman after basically Braun Strowman chases JD McDonough from the ring. That distracts our truth, allowing Finn Balor to land the coup de grace, and he gets the victory for their team. Judgment Day is on its here with help of Finn Balor. So, any thoughts on this one?
No.
Really nothing. This was very filler.
I just think, yeah.
This match was not great. We see Adam Pearce talking to CM Punk. You mentioned this earlier. Adam Pearce tells CM Punk he will meet with Drew McIntyre next week, but CM Punk needs to stay home. Punk agrees. We then see Liv Morgan talking to Dominik Mysterio. Liv's like, you look tense. Let me stretch you out a bit. So she stretches Dominik's leg, and he goes, ooh, that feels good. And then Damian Priest and the rest of the Judgment Day pop in. Priest tells Dominik, it's not hard. End it. And Carlito's like, that is hard. Damian Priest then tells Dominik that he will find out on his own, not to really mess around with Liv. So he keeps dropping hints that she's coming, dude. Watch out. Like, I wouldn't be doing all of this stuff, but people have talked about this online. Once I saw this, I thought of Triple H and Trish Stratus back in 2000. They did the same sort of situation where Trish is in like an arm lock. Stephanie walks in, freaks out on Triple H. So I like that little Easter egg there. But I like this stuff. I like how they're becoming a bit more uncensored and a bit more loose with everything going on. Speaking of loose, we get our videotape from this week. Bose basically says he's talking to Uncle Howdy. He says, I gave them a new home. Am I sick? He says, yes, you are. And he says, then sick is what will be. And then we see a bunch of pictures of the WYATTSICK members pop up. And then Adam Pearce walks into his dressing room and he sees Bo Dallas sitting there with a big smile on his face. So we talked about this earlier. Hopefully Bo and the rest of the WYATTSICK members show up in the ring and do more than just what they're doing. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Next up, we have Bron Breakker versus Ilya Dragunov. Ilya gets the win by DQ after Bron Breakker tosses a chair at Ilya on the floor. After Braun continues the assault on Ilya Dragunov until Sami Zayn runs out and makes the save, Braun tosses Sami Zayn into the ring post and over the announce table, and Braun does the same to Ilya. So Braun again looking strong here over two guys. Maybe this makes him look a bit better and deserving of a title match, a rematch, but I don't know. Him losing at SummerSlam, Money in the Bank kind of did it in for me. Before we take our break, our next match, we have Damage Control defeating Lyra Valkyria and Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Sorry, this is my bathroom break match. Io hits and gets the win. After, though, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark destroy Damage Control. And I like this group except for Zoe, because Zoe's not really she's not really a wrestler, like, doing the holds and arm lock. She's more of like a striker. But I do like this group. These are all women who do sort of submission holds. And this is a cool group. It would have been better if Natalya was in it, but we know that she's probably no longer with WWE. But really nothing here. Do you like this new group?
This group should be... Yeah, please, dude. I'm sorry. It's so funny. Holy shit! You know what they should call this group? They should call this group the Studs.
Goodbye.
This was the lesbian shield. This was the lesbian shield. This is exactly what I thought.
Literally, that's what it is. I mean, God. Is Zoe a lesbian?
No, stop. No. She has a husband.
Oh,
but Shayna and Sonya are. Okay, I'm just joking. I enjoy Shayna. Since the NXT days, we all know this. Sonya, I never really cared for. Zoe, she's just so boring. But she's great in the ring. I don't care about this group at all. When they all just stood like that, it was just like, holy shit. Like, instead of the Shield, like, just call them the Studs.
That would be awesome.
That would be fucking hilarious.
And then they just annihilate all the pretty girls, and then they like sit on top of them, and they put their
like, we're the Studs.
Yeah, their finishing move is a Bronco Buster. That'd be pretty awesome. All right, we're gonna take our first break after that, and when we come back, we're gonna cover our main event and a lot more. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm still the Hot Commodity Ant. That's still Christian, and we are still covering WWE Monday Night Raw. Before we dive back into it, make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. Like us, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Also, check us out on YouTube, Uncensored Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. A lot of stuff's coming your way. Attitude Era, NXT Heat Wave, Raw, SmackDown, SummerSlam soon. And Christian, where can our friends check you out if they want to like hear from you or all of your good stuff that you're doing?
I'm just on Twitter, Chris Russell TV, like always, and Twitch.
Fighting with Jimmy Corderas.
You didn't
I
block
love
me
it.
or anything.
That's all right. That's all
I
right.
didn't block him either, so he must have got over.
All right. You know, we can have battles and move on. It's okay to be grown, fight, and move on, right? You don't have to be angry forever. So we just were talking about Shayna, the studs attacking everybody. We have them being interviewed backstage.
Please don't cancel me for that, guys. That was just a joke.
Listen,
I saw somebody on Twitter say it. I thought it was
gay, and I'm calling them studs.
No,
it's okay.
I know.
Fine. So Shayna, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville are talking backstage. But the interesting thing here was behind them, Chad Gable is seen talking to Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers. So they've been doing this a lot the past couple weeks, seeing Chad Gable talking to them. He needs some help. He's afraid of the WYATTSICK6. Diamond Mine might be a good group to back him up. So we'll talk more about that as it happens. We've made it to our main event, WWE World Women's Champion Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio taking on Zelina Vega and Rey Mysterio. Pretty much Rey does a drop toe hold, and he pretty much sends Dominik Mysterio into Liv Morgan's crotch. Now, Christian, you might have to fill me in on here. How did this match end? I thought Liv and Rey lost. Or I'm sorry, Liv and Dominik lost, right?
No, they won. Dom was like, he kind of broke. He was like, he tried to go in for the hug and realized like, oh shit. So Liv just jumped on him, grabbed him down. They were in like a sex position.
Okay, so they did win.
They did win, and all you heard was, "This was my brutality." And then
I think seeing RHEA Ripley kind of made me forget everything else that happened. But yes, as you eloquently put it, she jumps on him. They're in a sexual position. They're about to get frisky. And then, like you said, "This is my brutality" comes on. RHEA Ripley walks down. Liv is shocked. Dom is shocked. And Liv runs away. Dom sort of just like looks for a hug. She said, or no, she grabs him by the chin. She says, "Mommy is back." And he goes to give her a hug, and she just sort of blows him off. What do you think? She's back? Do you think she's going to fight at SummerSlam? What do you think? What's going on?
So I talked about most of this earlier, but I'll say it again. I think Liv, his plan was to act like she was into Dominik until RHEA came back. And I think she's done with Dominik. I think she's going to reveal that she didn't really have any true feelings with Dominik. This is all because the thing I liked about this, like, I didn't like it at the beginning with Liv winning the title because I just think she's boring. But this made this run's turning around. I'm not gonna lie, because she made it clear she wants to take everything away from RHEA, and that's Dominik, and she took that. Now she's coming for the Judgment Day, her spot in the Judgment Day. And like I said, I could see something where if RHEA does somehow forgive Dom, which I don't know how it's going to play out because Priest is initially, I don't know if Dom's going to get mad at Priest for snitching or calling RHEA. Like, I don't know how this is going to play out, but it's really interesting. And RHEA coming back was just the cherry on top of the storyline.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm happy that she's back. I think we're gonna get some new developments. I don't know. I have a feeling that I like your idea of having Liv being like, "Fuck it," like I was just using you. But I think she's gonna keep playing into it to get RHEA pissed.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna find out, no, the entire time it was Finn, her, and everyone else working together to kind of screw
exactly. That's exactly what I think's happening because, excuse me, there's no way we're just forgetting I hope everyone just didn't forget about that key card incident because
Mhm.
I guarantee you that comes.
And
I guarantee you that comes back up in a pro. I
they
guarantee you at some point, and it's gonna be like right before SummerSlam. We're gonna see JD, Finn, Carlito, Priest, Rhea, Dominik, and Liv in the ring, all in the ring at the exact same time. It's coming, and that's when they reveal everything.
It's gonna be crazy, man. I'm excited because they didn't give us too much, which I'm happy about. So before we go, give me a prediction or maybe something you want to see happen next week on Raw. It could be anything, anybody on the roster. It could be a return. What are you hoping to see next week on Raw?
Well, Punk said he's already not going to be there, so that already throws it out the window. Maybe a face-to-face with Rhea and Liv in the ring with Dominik and by next aside. Maybe Seth and Drew talk about what happened at Money in the Bank with Punk.
Yeah, that's right, because Drew McIntyre is going to be there. I forgot all about that. Yep.
And Punk won't be, so have Seth Rollins kind of. Raw, I think, even though it's the best weekly cabled show in wrestling, in my opinion, Raw always starts out hot. Like, you never want to miss out the beginning. So I think the beginning should be like Rhea and Liv to start.
I agree, man. I think we're gonna get a lot of good stuff, especially with them coming to Netflix next year. I personally want to see more WYATTSICK6. I want to see them get involved, do things. I don't want to just see the videotapes. And I also kind of want to learn, and I said I wish they did this with the tapes. I want to learn about each character. Like why, like I understand like they did it with the letters, like when he went through and found the different letters and like him writing to everybody, like he explains why he wanted them. But like, he talks about how, you forgot them and they're back and like what's his face? Joe Gacy is
dope.
Husky the here is the pig, right? But like why? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a reason why he took over that specific thing? And why is Dexter?
Because he looks like Husky. This is just a prediction. I think Joe Gacy is Husky because he looked like Husky Harris when Bray Wyatt first started. He's built like a Husky Harris.
Okay. So maybe they thought by his look. I don't know. I just want to see. I think it would be a lot more cooler if we heard from the actual members as to why they joined.
Excuse me, holy shit. And that's been my problem with this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is literally this is what Jimmy Cordeas said and what I fucking agreed with him about. What's going to happen when these guys actually get in the ring? They can do all this backstage stuff all they want, but they need to make it interesting. Especially with Eric Rowan. Mm-hmm. This is somebody who has been with Bray Wyatt from the very beginning. And he's not going to say anything? Come on. They got to do a better job with this, bro. And don't be posting at Whataburger with your fucking fans. Gimmick.
Did you hear, really quick,
alive.
Ronda Rousey made a comment recently about Vince McMahon. She says, this is Ronda, quote, "Well, I think anyone's better than Vince McMahon. The only place you can go is up. I really enjoy Triple H and working with him. And honestly, I haven't been watching, but I saw something from Natalya saying that they had a card recently that had just as many women on it as men. And that's what I would really like to see, the women equally represented." End quote.
Ronda Rousey needs to stay far away from the wrestling business as possible. I mean,
I don't think she really did anything for women's equality.
You want to know the best thing Ronda Rousey has ever said in her life? Like, okay, first off, Ronda has not. How do I say? Like, in the ring, she's never been anything special. Let's admit, she's always done something like MMA, like this. Hold up. Like the only thing she was good for was a decent promo because she kept it real. This is the only thing. This exact reason is what Ronda Rousey is good for.
The only door you ever knocked down was the door to John Cena's bedroom.
Like shit like that is the only reason why Ronda was good. Because she would say shit like this. You knocked down John. Like this is right after her and John Cena broke up. Like if you looked at like Ronda kept it very real. She was almost like a CM. I'm not comparing her to CM Punk, but she was almost like she almost was like, that's the only thing I liked about her.
She was like a wild
card. And if she can come back on the Netflix era, I mean the Ronda Rousey at the end of the day. But I don't know. I just think it's when you go and bash your ex-employer in front of the entire world.
She kind of, I mean, that's kind of dumb.
She wrote a whole fucking book about a whole article. I went to my local bookshop and the lady was cool. They had I'm not paying $40 for the Becky Lynch and Ronda book. The lady in my local library, she was so nice, and I was sitting there reading. I was like, I don't want to like. She let me. I paid like something amount to rent it. Like I paid like $10 a book to rent it, like 20 for both of them, and I read them, and I right there like in the middle towards the end. It's just her talking shit about Laurinaitis, Vince, the WWE, Roman Reigns. She sneaks this Roman Reigns. Like she doesn't say his name, but she says in it like a thing, like in a sense where it's like, yeah, and then you have like the guy who doesn't show up to work all the time, but he's been champion for 3 years. Like, she's throwing shots at like Roman. Like she threw shots. Like when you do that, like I'm like she didn't say anything about Triple H personally, which makes me think like there's some hope. Like all the people she talked about, they're gone.
Well, that like her quote just now is saying that she really likes hearing that Triple H is making it more equal. I mean, like you just said, that could be her way.
I've heard her and Triple H don't have a bad relationship. I've heard they haven't. I just heard that it's just Ronda left at SummerSlam and Hunter didn't fully take over till War Games type of thing. So I think she was really in the moment and she wanted out of her contract and she should have waited what happened. I mean, look at what her friend Shayna's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing GCW Blood Sports. She's doing the studs. Like she's going Shayna NXT Raw fucking
Blood
Scotland, the pay-per-views. Scotland, like Shayna Baszler is fucking she's getting booked. Like she's not on top like she was in NXT. She's not on top, but like she's having matches at NXT PLE. She's having matches in the main roster PLE. She's having matches weekly on Raw. She's appearing on NXT. She's doing indie shows. Like I think Ronda should have waited out a little bit. I think she should have signed a new contract.
Well, I don't know. I think I don't really, after all this shit she's saying, it's just like, girl, like.
And that's the part of me that doesn't, not anymore. I don't want her. But like, as much as people like myself shitted on her being in WWE, she helped the product in the women's side, at least. I mean, it's Ronda Rousey. Like, Ronda Rousey was a big reason why I started. Obviously, she's the reason why everyone started watching women's MMA. But there was a point where I felt I haven't watched MMA in years. When Ronda Rousey started blowing up, I started watching it again. Like she's like she has that reputation and name.
I think if she
and now with the TKO merge,
that would be more reason. I think if she started now where it looks like there's a lot less stress on the wrestlers to hit their mark and I think she would do a bit better because like you said, the reason why you liked her was because she was a wild card. She was saying like provocative things. Vince only allowed her to do so much. Now, I think in this era, Netflix, she would be a bigger star because my biggest issue with her was that she didn't talk well. Like she'd come out, say stupid, like, and she was corny. But my version of Ronda Rousey doesn't need to talk. Ronda Rousey needs to come out, destroy people, fuck them up, leave, and if she has to talk, say something. She doesn't need to be, oh, well, I'm in your crappy hometown. I eat your people for like just the stuff she says is stupid. But I think if
it is, but at the same time, like during her UFC press conferences, like she didn't talk much. And if I could remember, like she was
and I
always
think
quiet.
that would be good. She doesn't need, she could be like the silent killer, you know. You don't
yeah,
need
but I agree, but I disagree because like some of the stuff she would say is corny, but like a lot of people now. I'm talking about if she fuck what everything she's done before for 1 second. Now, if she were to return to the company, I think it could work out because
yeah, I do too.
she has me myself. I would boo the absolute shit out of Ronda Rousey, like yourself, because people hate her now. She's gone out. She's left. She's talked about like same shit with CM Punk. That's why so many people still have a grudge on CM Punk. I will always love CM Punk. I don't give a shit. I will always love CM Punk. I will always chant CM Punk. But that's why a lot of people don't like CM Punk because he's talked shit about the company and he's back. And now he's the biggest star in the company now.
It's dumb because if you think about it, like we look at them as wrestlers and almost like superhuman. Every single person who has a job at one point or another is going to talk shit about their job. It doesn't matter what type of job you're in. It doesn't matter if you love your job. You're going to have a day where you're like, damn, and you're going to be pissed. So I don't think that you should judge someone based on like, oh, if they're talking about it. What I don't like about her is when she was in the company, she was given the title. She was given a major role. And in my opinion, I think the only match that she had that was really worthwhile or good was her match with Charlotte Flair at like Survivor Series 2018. Other than that, it was kind of very lackluster. But it was like, for example, when I went to, I don't know if it was Madison Square Garden or Hartford, but she was the women's tag champion with Shayna Baszler at the time. And I was excited to see her because, like you said, Ronda Rousey. Like, it's like a Mike Tyson, but a female.
I've got to see Ronda Rousey when she slapped the shit out of Becky and Stephanie. I was right there. I have it on video. Like I popped.
It's a huge, but I think when they lost that in her, when they put her in a WWE, she became more of a WWE superstar rather than I'm an MMA. This is what I am. Like Kurt Angle, when he came in, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. He wasn't doing the crazy. He's doing the wrestling moves that he's known for. Ronda came in as a badass, beat up Stephanie, fought with Charlotte, and then didn't have a one-on-one match with Becky. So it was just like, what is it now? Like, what's her gimmick? Is she MMA? What is she? And I think she kind of got lost. Also, at the time, they were building Becky, and Becky became big time Beck. She became the man. And
which was a botch at the main event, by the way.
It was a botch, yes. But I think now would be the best moment for Ronda to come back, like you said, because there is no one that can say I'm as bad as you. In my mind, like in the real world, no one's as bad as Ronda. Like Ronda would kick ass in the real world. But in WWE, if you're gonna look at that, not saying that Becky is as tough, but at that time, Becky and Ronda were viewed, in my opinion, the same level. Becky a little bit even more at that time because no one had seen that crazy blood moment before. But now that that's all said and done, if Ronda came back and just didn't explain and just said, listen, I'm here because I want to show that an MMA person can come in here and destroy all the WWE people. And then what would be cool if they did that, the merge of TKO, bring in some other female UFC MMA fighters. I don't know if they could hang, but have them show up. Like Logan Paul brings his friends in. You know, they're not really wrestlers, but they're involved. And then that way you get a partnership and you have almost like a MMA versus WWE angle where it's like, who really is tough here? I don't know. I feel like they dropped the ball. I don't know whose fault it was. It wasn't all Ronda's fault. She was given what she was given and it had to do with what she was given with. But if she came back, I think Triple H would make her a real badass. And I think that
absolutely.
But with that, we have covered all of Raw. We've talked about Ronda. We talked about a lot of stuff today. Very cool.
Yeah, it was very good. We talked about a bunch of different stuff today.
A bunch of shit. We've talked about the studs. That was probably my favorite moment of this conversation because that's
Dude, that was funny.
But until next time, everybody, stay safe and stay uncensored.